back to that dad guy. It's November 25th, 2023. We are at Turner's Christmas at the Coliseum for the 36th annual. And you can see the cars are already coming out in full swing. It is Saturday, which means it is day 2 of Turner's at the Christmas Coliseum. We are gonna do something a little bit different, which means I gotta go back in time and show you what happened on Thursday, because we're gonna do this from a different perspective rather than going in and doing it like a customer like I've done in the past. We're gonna follow a vendor from setup and through into the show and show what it takes to be a vendor to come to one of these shows, all the work it takes and preparation beforehand. You can see that there is a parking lot of cars waiting. Not waiting, they're inside. We're gonna go inside too, but I'm gonna show you what it was like a couple days ago and then bring you up to present, if that makes any sense. It should. Welcome back to the Moncton Coliseum, and we are at Turner's Christmas at the Coliseum once again, but we're gonna do it a little differently this year. We're gonna look at it from the vendor's perspective. So it's Thursday, things haven't even begun yet, but they are starting to set up booths here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find some vendors and find out why they come here and kind of tag along through the show, see how they do. There I find myself at booth 121, Forged in Fire from Mount Uniacke, Nova Scotia. Right now, all we have is an empty booth. So let's wait till the vendor gets here and see how it transforms. As you can see, some of the other booths around are starting to take shape, but we've got a long way to go before the show is ready to open tomorrow. You're always trying to find out the best layout on your corner.
That's right, and to display. Yeah.
With the crowds, do you have to think about little hands touching the glass? And
yeah. So, but we have to have it close to the display.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's always a risk. Kids say, "May I touch?"
Yes.
Then I'll take them down and show them, and the kids are so fascinated.
Right.
Which is great.
Is there a fear of theft at all when you're at shows like this? That where so many people.
For the most part, no. I mean, if people are good, I guess they're gonna get something. But
Yeah.
you know, if they're slick, but you know, and I can't watch everything all of the time.
Yep.
But I think for the most part, people that are here to see handcrafted things are, you know, are pretty
honest.
Yeah, they've paid to get in, so
Yep.
you know, yeah. I only know of one thing that actually did get stolen. It was a necklace and earring set.
Not at this show, hopefully.
No, it wasn't here.
Good.
Wasn't here. No. But that's the only thing that I know of that has actually gone missing.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess you kind of gotta chalk it up to, you have to have it where people can see. And for our pieces, a lot of times people need to be able to hold them.
Yep.
You know, so you gotta kind of just factor that in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where does your glass come from?
The glass that I use, the clear glass, comes from the Czech Republic. It's called Simax, and that's the sort of the Cadillac of borosilicate glass.
And the darker glass?
The darker glass comes from a variety of sources. A lot of the North American borosilicate colors made in Oregon, and some is made in South Carolina, some is made in California, some is made in China. But the bulk of it comes from Oregon. There's 3 companies in Oregon that make it.
So what's your best-selling item for your in shows like this?
Definitely humming. Well,
Icicles.
Icicles, yeah.
Quantity-wise, icicles.
Icicles, yep.
We do 4,000 or 5,000 icicles a year. And then quantity-wise, the next would be hummingbirds
Okay.
and dragonflies. And then you're into big fish, angelfish. And now our roses are really getting popular. And
Why did you get into glass blowing?
I got into glass blowing about 35 years ago. Barb and I were in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and we were in a bead shop, a native bead shop. Beautiful, beautiful beadwork. And in the corner of that shop was a young Mexican fella who was doing glasswork. And so I was fascinated with what he was doing. And I spent probably 45 minutes interrogating him and talking to him. And so finally Barb said, drag me out of there. And I said when we left, someday when I retire, I'm going to learn how to do that. So 7 years ago, or 6 years ago, we retired, and I got set up with equipment. I went to Corning Museum of Glass in Corning, New York, and studied glass blowing. And I've been back a couple of times with different artists from Venice and the US, and it's just grown from there.
Your background was not in art though before when you were retired. You were not an artist, right?
No, I was for many years involved in engineering and building high-rise buildings and bridges. And the latter 20 years, I owned a couple of companies building furniture and kitchen cabinetry and granite countertops. And so I retired from the kitchen cabinet and granite countertop world, and was going to spend my winters in Florida. We did that for a couple of years, and I take my glass beer down there and blow when I was in Florida. But then COVID hit, and that kind of put the kibosh on that. But I continued along, and it just keeps growing year after year.
How much equipment do you actually need to do it?
That's a complicated question. Because if you're just going to do something simple like little fishies like this, you could make that on a torch that costs $300, and you could be set up to do those for $3,000 or $4,000. To do these sharks and the big fish and the birds, my shop has $30,000 of equipment in it.
So not just to make jewelry.
No. Like doing this in soft glass is fairly easy on equipment and space. We've got probably 600 square feet devoted to the glass business now.
Okay.
So between the space required for the actual production of glass, and then another room that's 14 by 16 that's devoted to assembling and quality control and packaging, and then another room that's about 10 by 12 that's stock storage, and
your whole business is just you and Barb?
Yeah. But I couldn't do what I do without her, because
Good answer. Well, how many years have you been coming to Turner's Christmas at the Coliseum?
this is our second Christmas here, and things are always great at the show.
What do you look for when you come to this show?
Sales.
That's good. Any particular location you're looking for a booth to be in?
It's always nice to be in the A section,
Okay.
and in the first row, because that's where most of the people come down first. But in general, people travel around the show, and even if they start on the other side, they end up going by.
Do you prefer corner or on a lane?
We prefer corners because it gives us more display space.
Yep.
And Turner's is wonderful because almost everything is a corner.
Right.
Whereas a lot of shows, you have booth, and then a corner at each end. So here, it's super.
How far in advance do you have to let Turner's know that you're coming? When does the process begin, basically, for coming here?
On Sunday.
The Sunday before?
No, the last Sunday.
The
of
last
show,
Sunday you plan for next year.
we fill out a form that says if we plan to be here and do we want to stay in the same booth,
Okay.
or do we want to move? And then there is a deadline for your deposit, and then a deadline for your final payment for the show.
Okay. Paul, how many pieces would you bring to a show like this?
Oh, good question. Icicles, probably 1,000.
Okay.
Hummingbirds and dragonflies, 80 to 100. Big fish, 20, 25. Roses, a dozen. Sharks, maybe 7 or 8. Octopus, maybe 8. Really, I should be bringing more. We're probably going to sell out here.
Yeah.
But there's only so many hours to make things.
That's true. Barb, when you're working a show like this, how do you find time to, go to the bathroom or get a bite to eat?
Well, one thing is, if you don't drink, you don't have to pee as often. So
Good advice, okay. But if you're here for
But if
4
we're
days
here-
and you're working
Oh,
from
yeah. So-
2 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the evening, you got to take a break at some point.
No, absolutely. And so when I'm by myself, like all our neighbors are always very good to help watch one another.
got vendors close by, yeah.
And so, I have a little sign and I'll say back in 5 minutes or whatever, and I put the sign out and I mention to my neighbor across the way, could you just keep an eye?
Right.
And that's all you can do, really.
Right.
So, yep. So to grab something to eat, I usually bring my sandwich and have it at the booth, or if we're away from home and I pick up something, I usually bring it back to the booth and eat it. But you don't normally get to eat hot food hot. It's just, sort of, you get some bites while you can, and then if people are there and they're looking at things, you need to be there. So it's just part of life.
And how are the facilities and things here for vendors? Is it easy to...
Oh, yeah.
To get to
At
things?
Christmas at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
We were so impressed yesterday when we went to unload. We were able to drive right up to the door. Had a couple of awesome guys that had nice muscles that we came and helped to unload some of the stuff, put it on a big trolley, help us come in. That was worth millions to us, especially at our age. And yeah, and it means that things move much more smoothly out there because it gets unloaded, brought in, and then the next person can come and unload, and so it makes the whole system a lot smoother that way.
And the office staff to get your badges and everything set up, was it efficient?
Yes, very efficient. We went from one to the next, and everything signed and looked after, and
So not too much waiting time or anything like that?
No, there was practically no waiting time. Yeah, everything is very well organized. Yeah, and this is a nice, bright space here. We're really happy with the booth that we have. on the corner here, and yeah, so
Is this your same space from last year? I don't believe it is.
it isn't. No. So this is a little different. We were in this same building, the main building here, but yeah, a little different spot.
So thank you very much for having me follow you all weekend here at Christmas at the Coliseum. So do you have any final says of what you'd like to talk about this show and how things are going so far? I know you still have one more day, but how are things been?
Oh, amazing. It's been extremely busy. Lots and lots of people through. I'm quite sure busier than last year. We have sold,
no doubt it's busier than last year.
We have sold a lot of product. We came with more than we thought we would need, and yeah, it's a good thing that we brought as much product as we did. But yeah, and we love to see people excited about the products that we're selling. And this is always a great show. This is our second year at Christmas at the Coliseum. And it's so well organized, and yeah, everybody is helpful and friendly, and you know, it's good to see vendors that we've met before. And
so you're seeing the same sort of vendors from time to time that go to different shows?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you're seeing some new artists too that maybe you haven't seen before?
Absolutely. There's always new people coming along, and yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you pretty well covered it all.
Well, thank you so much for letting me follow you around, and to everybody else out there, come and see Turner's at the Christmas Coliseum year after year, because you're going to see new things, and you'll see new things from you guys as well, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. It's been really interesting.
Thank you once again to Turner's Christmas at the Coliseum and Joe for letting me come and film and follow around Forged in Fire this weekend to show what it's like to be a vendor at one of these shows. There are 250 vendors here this weekend, and some of them arrived on Wednesday. They started setting up on Thursday. The show is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They are on their feet, trying to make it the best show possible for all of you guys that are coming to watch. And it is fantastic, all the different varieties that are there. But just think of what the vendors have to go to be ready for this show, to produce enough stock for the show, and to make sure that you have a great time when you meet up at their booth. So thank you to everyone that comes out, and I want to say thank you to all the Monctonians, the Atlantic Canadians that are coming out to support this year after year. It is a fantastic show. Have a magical week.
What follow? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?